history lessons, steamships, and modern musings on the state of leather-bound smartphones. If you've got your ears to the cans for this installment of our weekly podcast, you already know the answer, and you know a thing or two about good taste, too. So kudos. On today's episode, we dive once again into the ever less mysterious LG G4 and run our fingers across its supple, stitched leather backside. Sorry, that's gross. And it's technically inaccurate. We don't have the phone yet. So we caress it in our imaginations. Accurate. We don't have the phone yet. So we caress it in our from Huawei to HTC, from Nokia to Alcatel. No, the G4 speculation. The news of the week. From Huawei to HTC, from Nokia to Alcatel. No, not that Alcatel. Plus, we tell you what phone you should buy, and we're paid a visit by the ghost of Joe Levi on episode 143 of the Pocketnow Weekly, the one-week podcast where we discuss news and opinion from the world of mobile technology, tablets, smartphones, wearables, and beyond, all that stuff you wish you had when you were a kid. From the studios of WERS in Boston, Massachusetts, I'm the man with a waking up problem and the hair to prove it, Michael Fisher. I'm joined by a pair of contributing editors with enough corn and wheat in their blood to make General Mills himself blush. Adam Dowd and Hayato Huseman. Gentlemen, welcome aboard.
What does that even mean?
Who knows what any of that means, man? Podcast producer Jules Wong is doing his best to keep consumer technology talking to professional equipment here at the ERS studios. And listeners, it is 6:30 p.m. Good afternoon. It was a nice abrupt fade. I felt like I was kicked off a city, as they have for months now. The good people at LD West are making this episode of the Weekly possible. Them and their outstanding LD West original adorning my torso right episode of the Weekly possible. Them and their outstanding LD your right arm and wallet under your left, making it easy to get to either one, whether you're standing proudly erect or limply languishing on the Lido deck. And unlike my inconstant maritime metaphors, the original is consisting from an iPhone to a Galaxy Note. Plus, it's available in one of 5 colors: brown, red, black, tan, or so you can pack everything from an iPhone to a Galaxy Note. Plus, it's available in one of 5 colors: brown, red, black, tan, or gray for $119.99. So clear out your pockets and look like a bum while you're doing it. Pick up an LD West original holster today at ldwest.com and tell them Pocketnow sent you. Adam Dowd.
Yo!
Did you survive that intro? Are you still awake? And tell them Pocketnow sent you. Adam Dowd.
Yo!
Did you survive that intro? Not true. Hey, tell everybody watching that's not true. Hey, tell everybody watching what belonged for us to come on the air. I think they deserve some instructions.
I think you're watching a little Q&A question in the Google Hangouts over there. You're just welcome to contribute a Q&A question in the Google Hangouts box got over there. You just type in your question, and if other people like it, they'll upvote it. We'll get to the ones that we love and the ones that everybody else loves, and there will be a lot of love for you. Or I don't know how they're going to have the manpower. Is there an extra charge for this? I didn't see that.
No, there is not. I will avoid that at all costs, because
I'm just wondering how that can be financially viable then.
And actually, that's why. Right, it's going to cost them a lot of money, and
remember, brevity is king.
For this, and that's a good question, right? I'm sure that there are other things they could be spending their money on, but it's no doubt. Well done. Thank you for that. Adam Dowd filling in for Stephen Shank today. He usually tells people at this point what they have to do to participate in the show, but he is today. We're recording at an inconvenient, unconventional time, and we're going to try not to do this again, except for next week when we do something
specific. The only job being to go out and deliver these phones and all that, or do you think they're just going to slap a cap on one of their existing, whoever's doing the worst in sales right now, just be like, well, you're the driver today.
Yeah, I wonder about that. It'll be like it'll turn a Sprint store into a pizza joint, right? It's
yeah.
Like, okay, you're going to be working the counter, and Tim, you're driving today. It's like, all right, sweet. I don't know, but they hope to get 5,000 cars out doing this, delivering phones to users. I think that's pretty cool.
It's almost like a T-Mobile move when you think about it.
It is. Talk about the device itself, but how was your time with it?
It was good. I got out of the box. The very first thing that I see is the awesome looking red color of the phone, and I just didn't want to put it down because of that color and the way it feels. And it's awesome. So
This is the device itself, but I want to know. I mean, you had to pull some all-nighters to get those.
the phone delivered to you within the same day, or are you gonna have to wait for whenever whenever one of the drivers gets to you, or what do you think? Because if it's not the same day, you might as well just offer free overnight shipping.
Right? Yeah, right. But then you don't get the concierge service of like the changeover and stuff. I feel like this is going to be like grandmothers are gonna want to do this maybe, but then that's kind of old school too, right? It's like no, I'll just get an iPhone. But this is supposed to begin in September, as a commenter rightfully points out. That's iPhone release time. And and then the comment devolves into a trolley bash on iOS users. Of course, why wouldn't it? It's the internet.
They're going to go from 5,000 cars to 50,000 cars when the iPhone comes out.
Right. Everyone in the chat is saying you've got some issues with our feed. Apologies. Apparently, it's Hangouts. We're back up here, so I don't actually know what the situation is. But everyone who's still watching, thanks. Our live view count just went into the trash. Hangouts has got to be atrocious today.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm still handsome.
Yeah, so you guys look great to me. I don't know what the problem is on the broadcast side, but you know what? We're all having a good time, and that's what matters.
That's right.
Jules is going to listen to that point when he's at about hour 4 or 5 of editing the high-quality cut together out of all this trash, and then he's going to throw his computer, and then he too will have tech problems. But listen, this news feed is about to end because we're about to get to the end of it, and that's This Week in Mobile History. Adam Dowd's favorite series to write, my favorite series to read. One of those things is true. You decide which one. Dowd, tell us what happened this week in mobile history.
This week in mobile history was actually it was a little bit light. I have to admit there wasn't a whole lot going on. There were a couple of things coming full circle though, which was kind of nice. I'll start off. I'll just give you a quick rundown. I like the first story that I had. I call it a missed opportunity because Packard Bell in 2002 was introducing its Pocket PC called the Pocket Gear, and we reported it on Pocketnow. And there should have been a better headline than what we had, but it wasn't meant to be. Let's see. Then we had an MP3 player from Brandon that he liked from Dell in 2004.
Oh, those Dell MP3 players. Yeah, they were monster boxes of delight. Yes.
We had a Wizard versus Wizard comparison in 2006.
Is that a Windows device? Yeah.
It was a singular 8125 versus the iMate KJam, which is basically the same insides with a differing hard candy shells. And then one of the more fascinating pieces that I found from 2007 was a battery charger, which you're thinking, oh, it's a battery charger. It'll give, it's not a big deal. But this battery charger ran off of AA batteries. I am so fascinated by that. You actually put AA batteries in this case and then plug that into the bottom of your phone.
Oh, no, totally. I saw those. They used to sell them at like the 7-Eleven and stuff and convenience stores. Yeah, you pop in some AA batteries and juice up your phone right quick. Because, like, what was the rating on phones back then? What was the milliamp hour rating? Probably like 800 or something?
6, I don't know, 6 or 7. No. But, and then the other thing from 2007 rolled around that I actually found fascinating was Windows Mobile 6 upgrade details were released by HTC. So even back in 2007, people were still asking the question, am I going to get the latest version of the operating system? So I thought that was kind of cool.
Indeed.
And then while I was scanning headlines from 2008, I came across Microsoft Surface arrives, and I'm like, what? That's crazy. That's not right. And then I opened up the article, and they're talking about the Surface tabletop computer, which they use in Hawaii 5.0 all the time. But I've never seen anywhere else. And then Adam Lane made an impassioned plea to keep mobile web alive. So one of those two things was cool, and the other one was a bit misguided. And then finally in 2011, HBO Go Video on Demand came to iOS and Android. But I thought it was interesting that this week in mobile history, 4 years ago, HBO Go Video on Demand came to iOS, and then this year, right around the same time, HBO's independent online streaming services comes to iOS. So apparently HBO has a long-lasting relationship with iOS. So
you're burying the lead here, Dowd. You know what I want you to get to.
And are we talking? Well, there's two other choices in 2011.
It's not the one named after the fruit.
Not the mango. Okay, so first shots arrive of Angry Birds Easter. Yay! Back in 2011, Angry Birds was still a thing, and they had this seasonal game boards that they would release for October, for Halloween and Labor Day and Arbor Day, and we were excited enough to post a lead story about Angry Birds Easter. We were really, really sad back in 2011. And that pretty much wraps up this week in mobile history.
They've got some new Angry Birds game that just bugs me with a 30-second ad anytime I'm playing any of my freemium apps on my iPad.
Really? Oh, no, that sucks. I always pay to get rid of the ads because I don't like that. It ruins the experience for me.
It does.
Hey, there's you know how many comments are on this post out?
Last I checked, it ended in a 0.
Big old meatball, a goose egg.
Yeah,
Nobody cares about this week in mobile history except me. Listen, keep writing these pieces for me, and we'll just arrange it that way because I like it.
It makes me sad that you said that because when you said nobody cares about this week in mobile history, I was about to say including me.
Including you. I know this is not your favorite thing to do, but it's fun.
No, it's fine. It's a nice stroll back through memory lane.
Exactly.
I think if my memory went back before 2009, this would be a lot more fascinating for me. But I got in late to the mobile tech scene, so I never had a Pocket PC. That's my failing, and I understand that. But at the same time,
should have had you on here when we were talking about that Sony Clie, which was a good time.
I also never watched movies that were made before 1980, so it's how I roll.
That's all right. That's me either, actually, really. It's time for us to help out, to do our civic duty and help out some of our fellow smartphone sailors in distress. Jules, would you please take us into what phone should I get? As fellow mariners on the storm-tossed seas of the smartphone world, we're bound by honor and tradition to lend a hand when their turn comes to upgrade. Join us in the Q&A section as we try to help out Bert Cocaine, still the best name ever, Lakota B, Ian Rapper, and Andrew Burgess as they struggle to decide which smartphone will be their next. By the way, if you write in twice or more than once and you detect that we are having trouble with your name the first time around and its pronunciation, please append notes to help us pronounce it on the second go-around. Please. Bert Cocaine says, we don't have any trouble with that name. Bert Cocaine says, he sent us a message, I think last week or the one before, saying, I want to go to Sprint and I need the best Windows phone there is. And we were like, there's no possible way you can do that. Sprint barely has anything. So he's clarifying. He says, I'm moving from Sprint to T-Mobile. That changes everything. Sprint does not have a range of choices for devices in my area. Next, the reason I'm leaving my Note 3 and moving to Windows Phone has more to do with use alongside a tablet than anything else. I have a 7-inch Galaxy Tab 4 that I love, but it's way too similar to my Note 3. As far as the M8 versus 640, these just seemed like the best choices on T-Mobile. Are there others for Windows Phone that are better than these? Hayato, we're going to press you into service for the first time in a coming many times on this show as a T-Mobile.
Let's go, T-Mobile boy.
Yeah. What help can you lend to our friend Bert Cocaine?
Well, anytime our Nokia or our Microsoft Now rep comes in just to show us the new Nokia or Microsoft phone, we always end up having a conversation about how there are really no good Windows phones on T-Mobile these days, and especially at the store I work at where we don't carry the M8 for Windows. That's sort of it's sort of a scattered release on there. So really, I mean, the only good Windows phone you can get on T-Mobile right now is the M8, and I don't know if they're even still selling that one or if they've stopped the same way that we don't carry the Android M8 anymore. But if you can get your hands on that, that's probably what I'd recommend, unless you don't mind paying full price and buying an unlocked Windows phone. That would be better.
Speaking of which, actually came across the news feeds today. It came from a competitor, so I think we're safe in mentioning this though. That Windows Phone Central posted a thing on today talking about eBay was selling unlocked and refurbished Lumia 1520s for $249.99.
Really?
Whoa!
So yeah, so I was wondering, and it's funny because I was reading this question when that came across Twitter. I'm like, and it's a really good thing that came across Twitter because I had no other answers for you at all.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it is a refurb. You got to keep that in mind. They're not,
But it's
Yeah, I
unlocked,
just got
so
paid
you should be able to take
yesterday.
it to T-Mobile.
Wow, absolutely. And as I understand it, Hayato, you should be able, if he goes for that option or decides to buy a Lumia 930, which would be another recommendation of mine, hardly an original one, or even an 830. If you're trying to save some money, the 830 for what you pay, it should be cheaper, I still think, or it should have been at launch, but it's a pretty good value. You should just be able to grab a nano SIM from T-Mobile and plug it in there, right?
That's right.
There you
Cool.
go.
There we go. Bert Cocaine, I hope you have some luck there. Good luck in the move. Congrats on being satisfied with your tablet, and we are going to see some new Windows Phone hardware this year, but it's who knows at this point what even month it's going to be.
Yeah.
They'll probably announce something at Build, but it's going to be a while. So if you're looking to make this purchase now, 1520 or 930 or the 830 if you're going to save some money. And if you have a couple weeks, see what the 640 XL is like. Maybe it'll be cheaper than the 830, but I think for my money, an 830 would be a better buy between those two, just because of the camera. But
That 1520 is a damn good deal, though.
it is a solid deal. It is a refurb, though. It gives me a little bit of pause. If it's a green refurb, I mean, that's that green color is mad hot when that
There you
happens.
go.
This is what phone should I get number 2? You want to read Lakota B's email, Adam Dowd or Hayato Huseman?
As soon as I find it, what was the subject line?
Oh, why is choosing so hard?
Okay, I got this. Yep. Dear Pocketnow team, love what you're doing. Got to put on the glasses. I have been a loyal listener since day one. I apologize if this email gets lengthy. That's fine. We're just going to go ahead and skip over a couple of things. You use HTC. You're on an iPhone 6 and Verizon. iPhone 6 is great at power on the go for photo editing and a I'm assuming, good camera. Want to try to switch between a lot of photo apps and get on Tumblr. So you're the one that gets on Tumblr. Anyway, start scrolling
great
through
radio,
my favorite
Dad.
photo
You're doing
blogs.
a great job on this.
Start to notice that the 1 gigabyte of RAM kills me. It's all caps with an exclamation point. Seriously considering Galaxy Note 4, but then I saw the Galaxy Note Edge, and I really like it. And the feel in my hand was good. The curved screen made one-hand use pretty easy-ish, and I think multi-window and the S Pen could really help my multitasking. However, should I wait for the Note 5 or the Note 5 Edge? Because I really like the Edge on one side and not both sides, like the Galaxy S6 Edge, and that's not the right reason you should not like the Galaxy S6 Edge, but we'll talk about that in a second. I do have one of my lines ready for upgrade now, and I would really appreciate your guys' input.
All right, so this is easy, right? If you're going to wait for the Note, it's going to be September. It's going to be September announced, October availability. That's a long time to wait. If you're looking to upgrade now, upgrade now.
Yeah, so I wrote down a couple of notes on this one. Great taste in phones because of the Note Edge, but I'm afraid it will be a laggy mess before long if you go with the Note 4 Edge, or the Note Edge, which doesn't have a number next to it.
Not necessarily. I mean, it won't be. Why would it be?
It's TouchWiz, and that does not age well.
TouchWiz does not age well. That is correct.
So,
but I just got the Lollipop update on the Note 4, on our Verizon Note 4, which we just took delivery on, and I mean, that's a new device, granted, just fresh out of the box, but.
So my notes go on to say the S6 Edge is a handcuffed Edge, so don't get that. And I would wait for the Note 5 Edge to see if A, Samsung returns the Edge functionality and actually makes the Edge useful again, and B, Samsung maintains its light skinning. This is like the one time that I will ever advocate for waiting for a new phone, but this is probably the one case where I would actually consider waiting.
Interesting. Hayato, do you have a thought here?
I really haven't messed with the Note Edge much at all, because that's another phone that we don't carry at my specific T-Mobile store. So I don't really have any valuable input on the Note Edge. I can say, I mean, if you get the Note 4, it's still a really, really good phone. I mean, it's only
fantastic.
6 months old now, 7 months old.
Spoiler alert! I'm preparing a comparison between the S6 and the Note 4 right now, and I'm heavily leaning toward. Like, I mean, it's tough to find a reason beyond aesthetics that you would pick the Note 4.
Yeah. Here's
No,
the
that
thing,
you would
though.
pick the S6. I'm sorry.
Here's the thing.
Building the studio around me.
Especially with the Edge, and he specifically alludes to the Edge functionality, which is not there on the S6. The only thing that the S6 Edge is good for is this contact stuff, the glowing for a different color, swiping to quickly access a contact. But the one thing that made the Edge awesome, in my view, and I know Michael absolutely disagrees with this categorically, was the fact that the Edge was so useful on, as terms of getting the app, the app launchers over on the side there.
It depends on what you mean by useful, I think. I mean, I don't.
I was just about to explain that. If you let, can I finish? Can I finish? But having the the viewfinder for the camera, the controls up on the top, stuff like that was actually useful, as opposed to this gimmicky contact stuff that they're doing these days. And so if Samsung can get back to that, it's like they had this really great concept on the Edge, and then they just completely like. All right, a very, very quick story. When my son was learning how to ride a bike, the first time he rode a bike without training wheels, I was running along behind him. I let go of the bike, and he started going. He got about 10 feet before I panicked and grabbed him and said, "Oh my God, you're going to fall." And then I realized, wait, he's not going to fall. And so I let him ride his bike. I wish Samsung had just let the darn kid ride its bike. I don't know why they had to handcuff this functionality.
You know, it's funny. I have not figured out a way to activate the Edge screen on the S6 Edge yet. Like, it's been like 5 days, and I have all the features turned on, but I can't do that like thumb action that like in from the side and back out, or out to the side and back in. Like, nothing I do will activate the stupid Edge screen. So right. I will say that I actually I agree with you, Adam. But on the S6 Edge, it's nice. Just the look is so much nicer. Everyone who told me this while I was holding the regular S6 for like a week. I was right. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous device. It's almost worth the extra hundo just for the aesthetics of the curved.
It's almost worth the extra hundo just to be able to do that little swiping, like to swipe in the slidable menus on Android.
The swipe in the what menus on Android? Like
the sliding menus on Android, like
yeah. Yeah, to pull them from the side. Yeah,
that feels so cool on the S6 Edge.
Yeah. But no spoilers on that. On our final conclusion. Toyota, you were right, though. So anyway,
my vote was to wait. What do you guys think?
I don't see the. No, it's such a long time to wait. It's not even the summer. Like, we just got into the spring. It's going to be late fall by the time this thing has wide availability, this Note 5, whatever it's going to be. And I bet that they're not going to be able to pack in much better hardware than they're doing right now. I bet they're going to tweak some aesthetics, probably put in a screen with 800 pixels every inch that you just don't need. And, I think the Note 4 is such a good device that it's if you really want it, if you want the Note 4 or the Edge variant, I think you should jump on it now.
I got to put it in pixels that reach out and grab you by your eyeballs.
That's right. I thought I had the Note in my hand just now, and I got excited about pulling out the S Pen so it could help me with the Pocket, but I don't have that, so it's fine. Oh. It's fine. I'll live with the S6 Edge because my life is apparently horrible. Hey, what's the next thing? My goodness. I picked a lot of long emails. I'm going to power through this one. Hayato, get ready to read the next one, okay?
All right.
This one is going to be from Ian Rappel. Dear Pocketnow, first, praise for the podcast. Long-time listener, first-time writer. Save a few Q&A questions. I appreciate the thorough and intelligent conversation of an industry I find fascinating. Thanks, Ian.
All right.
But to move on to my predicament, I've deemed it time to move on from my oh-so-beloved Nexus 5. Everybody pay attention, because it starts talking about ROMs, and I don't get ROMs. I slapped ROM after ROM onto it before feeling unique by using the LDev preview, and then calming down, like a return from a midlife crisis, back to stock 5.0. But now my baby is growing dated. Alongside a bug-ridden 5.1 update experience, and I'm shopping for my next device. I'm working on T-Mobile, and I have many little preferences to account for. I'm interested in the Galaxy S6, but that battery size life terrifies me, indeed, alongside the fingerprint-making backside. The M9 has a lovely unibody, but a camera reported to be not so good isn't the best situation. Coming from the Nexus, here's what I want. Bigger, better battery, a better camera, a larger size, Phablets are fine. Price is no concern. So, do I get the shiny S6 Edge, the sleek M9, or desperately wait for its larger brother to come to the US, the soon-to-be LG G4, or even the Sony Z4? Is the Note 4 still viable? Lead this sheep home. Thank you for the great content and the aid in my tech choices. Sorry for the length, it's quite the predicament. Indeed it is, Ian. This is a difficult question. Since we were just talking Note 4, I'm just going to jump in with it. I think the Note 4 is certainly still viable. You've got a big battery, it's removable. It doesn't last as long as its predecessors, but it lasts longer than most of the phones you just listed, particularly the S6. If camera's a concern, the M9 takes good ones if you're not going to scrutinize every pixel. But if you spend a lot of time in the dark, you're right, it's not the right phone. G4, Z4, we don't know anything about. Nexus 6 doesn't have the battery life it should for such a big phone, but that's another pretty okay option in my view. I'm leaning toward Note 4, Nexus 6. What do you guys think, Adam and Hayato?
Well, originally I thought Nexus 6, but then he mentions that he's not really a big fan of Lollipop. So
right, but the 5.1 update just dropped. That was why I selected this, was to make that clear, because that is supposed to smooth out a lot of the performance problems in 5.0.2.
So yeah, I mean, if you're concerned about battery life, then the GS6 battery life concerns are definitely legitimate. Can the M9 camera be fixed with software, I wonder, or is that just a bad sensor?
That's the question everybody's asking, and I don't think it's a bad sensor. We've talked about it before. Toshiba makes the Lumia sensors.
Yeah, so I mean, if that can be fixed with an update, then I guess the M9 would probably be the way to go. Otherwise, yeah, I was thinking Nexus 6. I guess Note 4 would be okay. But yeah, I mean, pretty much everything you get these days is going to have Lollipop. So yeah, that's pretty much where I am. And also, just so you know, you can actually go back on the Nexus 5 all the way back to 4.1 if you want. So
but who recommends that?
So.
Yeah, there were some. There was a camera update. I wanted to say this. We said it last week, but people keep asking me, like, are you going to go re-review the M9 now that the update fixed the camera? That update only updated US versions of the M9 to what we were already running on our EMEA device, guys. So no, we're not going to re-review it with the same software. I know it's confusing, but I get asked that a couple times a day, and I have to clarify it every couple times a day.
But other than that,
I'm glad the US unit got updated. What?
Other than that, my only other thought was Moto X. So, but then there's also battery life.
Really bad battery life.
Battery life concerns there too. So
it's not really bad.
My battery got a lot better on the Moto X with the latest software update. So
did it?
Yeah, I mean it lasted me probably an extra 3 or 4 hours a day with the last update.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's really good.
I can't wait to move back to my Moto X then.
I mean, overall though, for his question, I'd probably say either the Nexus 6 or the Note 4 as well. The Nexus 6 didn't have great battery life compared to some other phones, but especially since he said he's done some ROMing, he's obviously pretty familiar and comfortable with modding his phone. Joe Levi did the piece a while ago, or I don't think he did a piece. He just tweeted about it, I think, but he found a tweak to reduce the resolution on the screen to only 1080p instead of QHD, and he said that it got him significantly better battery life.
How does a tweak adjust the number of pixels on an AMOLED panel? I don't.
So it's still obviously
all pixel doubling.
All pixels are still going to be on, but it cuts the DPI.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's the output resolution, is what Jules is saying. Basically, the phone, you're still technically getting the 2560 by 1600 pixels, but it only has to actually create the 1080p resolution, and so it's saving. It's mostly saving
on the GPU side, right? Yeah.
So I mean, Joe said that gave him significantly better battery life. So if he's comfortable doing that, then maybe. Sure,
it's like the downscaling when games have to run at reduced resolution on some phones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
But
sorry for my initially stupid reaction, but I was just like, what?
I'd still probably say Note 4 overall, just because he also wanted a good camera, and the Nexus 6 doesn't exactly offer that either.
Yeah, but above all, if you're hopping all over the place, Ian, wait for the G4. We got a couple weeks for the G4. Wait to see what that's going to bring to the table. And Sony, every week we got 6 more rumors on the Sony Z4, but the latest rumor we have has it maybe coming in on the 20th, the announcement. So
Yeah.
we'll see if that's true.
And if you don't like the Z4, just wait, 3 or 4 more weeks, and Sony will put out another phone. So.
Word up. There you go. We got to move this along. Andrew Burgess is our last piece of mail in the What Phone Should I Get? And then we've got one listener mail after that. Hayato, can you read that one?
Yeah. So Andrew says, "Thank you for all the amazing content you put out every week. To the point where you are one of the few websites and YouTube channels that I check every single day. I'm what you'd call a tough spot regarding my next smartphone purchase, and I'll try to be as brief as possible. My dream device is probably the next Moto X, but my problem is with Android Lollipop. Ever since my AT&T Note 3 received the 5.0 update, it's been slower than my iPhone 4 that I had nearly 4 years ago."
Exclamation point.
Exclamation point. "Based on these experiences and your reviews, Lollipop has indeed become the Windows Vista of Android in my mind. I'd be fine with the current Moto X, but only if it hasn't gotten updated to the Lollipop yet." Which doesn't it ships out of the box with it, doesn't it?
Yeah, now it does. Yeah. I think.
Let's see. "Although if Michael or anyone else you know has had positive experiences with the update, I'll reconsider. I'll be making a final decision within the next 2 months, so time isn't incredibly urgent to me. I'd prefer to stick to Android because none of the current Windows Phone offerings strike my fancy, and I'm not an Apple person. My question is as follows: are there any KitKat phones left that I can grab in that time frame, or do you still have any other recommendations? I'd love to hear your opinions. Thanks again for your help, and have an awesome day."
So this is great, and I picked it specifically so that I could say no. I don't think it's a good idea to go for a previous release software just because you liked it better. I understand it completely. Believe me, I get it. But I also, as we said on the last answer, 5.1 is supposed to have fixed a lot of performance issues. Hayato is finding out that on his Moto X you're getting what, 3 or 4 more hours of battery life? You said.
Yeah, it's a lot better.
Yeah, and how's the responsiveness on it?
I haven't noticed any performance issues. It's been pretty good. It's got the standard Lollipop issue that I've had with pretty much every phone besides the M9, which is whenever I launch the multitasking, it takes a really long time. Yeah, but that's about my only issue with the latest update to Lollipop on the Moto X.
They definitely need to follow this up with like in 5.2 or 5.5 or whatever they do with Project Tallow or something, like Project Lard, or it's some kind of follow-up to the butter thing, because when they announced that, everyone rejoiced and everyone was like, "Jelly Bean, that's awesome, it's smooth as anything, this is amazing, the days of lag in Android are over." And then, of course, they painted Lollipop with all these pretty Project Lipid, yeah. Good one, Jules. And they painted Lollipop with all these pretty colors and material designers, and it is beautiful, but it really suffered in the performance. So 5.1, we're seeing fix a lot of that stuff, so I wouldn't be too apprehensive. Do you agree, Dowd, or do you have a different view?
I mean, the only phones that you can get these days that have KitKat on them are the aforementioned Nexus 5, which, like I said, you can sideload any OS from 4.1 up onto it. I actually have 4.4 running on my Nexus 5 just because I'm not a big fan of Lollipop myself. I've got the OnePlus One, which supposedly has CM12 out, which is based on Lollipop, but I haven't gotten it yet, so I'm a little on the fence about that one. But beyond that, I mean, I don't think there's really anything else out there that's shipping with KitKat on it. So I think honestly, you just gotta stick your head down and charge forward. Damn the torpedoes and full speed
ahead. Who was that?
That was somebody that I never knew personally.
Who is one man that has never been in my kitchen.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's get to listener mail.
Nice. Well done.
Thank you. This is listener mail, just to wrap us up on the show because we're a little bit over time, and this is a big one. Joe Levi was kind enough to answer this one for us in absentia, so pour a little out for Joe Levi. He's still around, but he has to write in his responses. So, William Lee writes, "Hi everyone. Quick question on quick charging. Why is it that the first half of the battery charges faster than the second half?" Joe Levi writes back with
that
us.
is the very definition of a brief listener mail, by the way. So all of you listeners, pay attention because
Perfect
that's how it
example.
gets done.
Exactly. Joe Levi writes, that's a great question, William. To start out, let me lay a little background. I drive a Prius. Yeah. While you're busy snickering, I'm busy getting 42 miles per gallon.
Oh, sick burn.
Unlike most other cars, my Prius doesn't have a gas tank. It's got a bladder. I didn't know this, by the way. The bladder is basically a squishy bag into which the gasoline is pumped. It expands and contracts while in use to accommodate the volume of gasoline that it's holding. When I fill up with gasoline every 3 weeks, the first part fills pretty quickly, but the last 2 gallons take a long time. Why? When the bladder is empty, it can take in a lot of gasoline very quickly. As it gets full and the bladder is forced to expand by the incoming liquid, vapors back up the fill tube, causing the nozzle to click off. Since the tank is only 10.9 gallons, stopping at 9 gallons means I'm cheating myself out of almost 100 miles of driving on that fill-up. So after the nozzle clicks off, I pump the rest slowly by hand until it's got at least 10.5 gallons in it. Those last few gallons take longer to pump than the first 8. All right, what's all that got to do with batteries? Although a battery isn't the same as a gas tank, the concepts are similar. Electricity flowing through a circuit behaves very similarly to how a liquid flows through a system. As a battery fills, resistance increases, just like the bladder in my Prius. A side effect of this is heat. Heat increases resistance, resistance increases heat, and so on. If left unchecked, a condition called thermal runaway occurs. Boom. To mitigate all this, the charging circuit monitors the heat, the state of charge, etc. Once a certain set of conditions is met, it scales back the charge rate, limiting amps, voltage, etc., just like I do when I manually fill the last 2 gallons of my Prius. Another example just for fun. This is a shorter one. Let's say your battery is a 5-gallon bucket that you're filling with a fire hose. At full blast, you might be able to fill half the bucket quickly, but if you don't hurry and scale back the pressure on the hose, you're going to end up with water spraying all over the place, and you might find you've only filled up a small portion of the bucket. To fill the rest of the bucket, you'll have to fill it slowly, maybe even down to a trickle, to get that last little bit in to fill it to 100% capacity. Joe Levi.
Well done, Joe.
Thanks. Well done, Joe. Thanks. Good stuff.
Hey, guys, I'm actually coming up against a hard stop here, so can I...
Yeah, we got to go. Yeah, we got to wrap it up.
Okay.
Get out of here. Tell everyone where they can find you on the internet really quickly.
You can find me on Twitter at Dead Technology, or if you're interested in a technology podcast, I got to pimp it. Sorry, Michael.
Do it.
It's
Great podcast.
It's techbeard.com, TEKBEARD.com. We are a bi-weekly podcast that discusses all things tech and most things geek, hosted by yours truly. So thank you very much both for having me on.
Dowd, thank you for being here.
Yeah, I hate to split seconds before the outro music, which I love so much, but I really got a book.
It's not a problem, man. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for taking over when I disappeared against my will, and we will see you very soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody, for listening. You're awesome.
Later, brother.
Yep.
Hi, Otto. Stick around for 2 seconds so we can answer the most upvoted questions in the Q&A. I had to, chop them down because a lot of them were talking about flickering video, green screens, audio explosions, and a lot of other Hangouts problems that that we had no control over. So sorry, everyone. Thanks for sticking with us, etc. What are your thoughts on a 6.8-inch FHD display on a phone? Asks Luke. But
I want none of that.
Jeez. Yeah, no, an almost 7-inch FHD display. Is that the what is that? The P8 Max or something? The Huawei thing? Because they were talking about. Isn't that what somebody else? Why are we being asked about this? Because we didn't talk about that in the hands-on. Because I only got hands-on with the P8 itself. 6.8 FHD display Huawei. If my assumption is right, yes, it is in fact. Huawei P8 5. All right, so there's a 5.2-inch Full HD screen on the P8, but then the P8 Max with a 6.8-inch FHD display. Indeed. Jeez. Yeah, that's intense. And I see that Huawei. This is my first time looking at their dot view case for this thing. That's interesting choice. I really get frustrated when people just straight up rip off stuff, and that is.
I don't know though. It's kind of nice to just see that coming to other phones because it's the dot view on the M9 is so cool.
It is cool, and that's why it's like I don't know. it's always a long conversation when you get into like, did they copy this other company conversation, and that's blatant and it sucks, I think. But anyway, whatever. Did you see the new Star Wars trailer? Asks Matthew Miller. It's not mobile tech, but I still want to know. It's a good question. I meant to watch it before the show. I have not seen it yet. What about you, Hayato?
I haven't seen it either.
All right. It's gonna be badass from what I understand. All of Twitter talking about it. With John Escamel, we'll talk about the Microsoft and Cyanogen partnership when we have more time. And Jonathan Watts, same deal. And Jonathan Watts, we're going to close out the show with your comment, which really kept us going. That's okay, Michael. We're all in this together. That made me feel better. I don't know which particular difficulty I was bitching about when you posted that, but thank you, Jonathan. That made me feel good. Hayato.
Michael.
Now we're in a segment called Weekend Reading, which I would have forgotten about if Jules didn't put the drop right on top of my head there. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. This is a 1-minute segment where I tell you about something cool. In the heady days of the dawn of radio, the word wireless meant a very different thing indeed. This week, in fact just the other night, marks the 103rd anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic, where wireless telegraphy played a crucial role. Historian Parks Stephenson, I've been reading him for a long time, I don't know how to say his last name, has amassed a massive information on Titanic and her particular Marconi installation at his website, marconigraph.com. Tragic circumstances aside, the complexity of the century-old equipment is a helpful reminder of the sophisticated technology we carry in our own pockets today. Go check it out. It's a great article, and it's just ridiculous. I'll look at the thing, and the excerpt on the site is like, the vertical lead-in, its corresponding wire, and the horizontal flat top was connected by means of a McIntyre connector with two 20-foot spreaders and a tarred hemp rope rat line keeping it stable. I don't know how 5% of that entire system worked, and it's over a century old. And it should remind you that the stuff we talk about is very sophisticated stuff. So don't throw your phone if you're mad at who you're talking to. It's a very complex piece of equipment. Mine just buzzed.
I was wondering if that was me.
It was me. It was my fault. So that's your weekend reading, folks. Please enjoy that. And with that, I'm going to say to Hayato, thanks, man. It is great to have you back on the show as a contributor. Please come on more often.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode of the Pocketnow Weekly, produced by Jules Wong, giving everyone a glimpse into a little slice of Boston life at Greenpoint Zero, spinning sweet tunes as well, and asking for funds from time to time at wers.org. Also, be sure to find the hosts on the Twitter sphere. Adam's probably covering curse words with punctuation to protect the children. And also, probably pimping his own podcast. Once again, TEKBEARD at Dead Technology. Dead Technology. Hayato is fruitlessly trying to explain to computers worldwide that Hayato should not be auto-corrected to Hyatt. And when he succeeds, he's tweeting at Hayato Huseman, HAYATOHUSEMAN. And I'm tweeting about cat baths, technology, and the clean country living that Nathaniel Hawthorne advocated at Captain 2 Phones. That's Captain, the number 2, Phones. Pocketnow is also on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Google+, and it all comes together like hypermatter and magic plasma in the galaxy's most imperial star destroyer at pocketnow.com. If you enjoy the podcast, help it spread far and wide like Emperor Palpatine's harsh but fair influence. Share it with your friends who love mobile technology, and help share it with strangers by leaving a review on iTunes, Stitcher, Xbox, Pocket Casts, wherever podcasts are heard, on the web or in the world. On our way out the door, we thank our hosts at WERS. We thank our sponsor at LD West. That's ldwest.com. And most importantly, we thank you so much for listening. The Pocketnow Weekly will be back with more mobile tech talk next week.